Hey, what is going on, Abel?
Manny, Manny the man. What is going on?
Kind of a weird time to go on live on a Saturday evening at 7 o'clock. I'm expecting, I don't know. I figure people are busy doing their stuff on the weekend,
On a Father's Day weekend, maybe.
Father's Day weekend to top it off. But I thought I figured election night would be a good time to get on. And I haven't been on since
Vacation or what?
since June 9th or something like that. It's been a while.
Wow.
Took a little bit of time. It's location where I'm at, the hotel Wi-Fi is not good. And it's always frustrating. That's why I try not to get on here too much when I'm in this location. Hey, Betty Rubble. Who finally decided to show up. MIA from the show.
Manny was MIA.
Thank you so much. And actually, I was in MIA, Miami, for a little while. That was part of the reason. And but mostly, to be honest, it's this internet connection here at this hotel. It's not the greatest. I hope it's behaving tonight. Hungry Hippo, how are you? Happy Father's Day weekend. Thank you so much. Abel, you too. Happy Father's Day.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
How you been? I haven't had you on. You haven't been on here for a minute.
It's been a while, man. I went through a few haircuts.
Yeah.
And a few beard changes. So yeah, it's definitely been a while, bro. I mean, maybe a month or two now. I don't know, man. I've just been focused, man. That's it. And finally, it's great to be back on. Thanks.
Yeah, definitely just mixing it up a little bit. I didn't have, for those of you wondering, I didn't have Bam come on tonight. I figured it's a local politics thing, so he's not local to the area, and I didn't want to just, just didn't make sense. So tonight we're going to be looking at District 3 and District 4, the Brownsville commissioners races, which are both in a runoff. Hey, Hilda, welcome. Glad you could make it.
Hello.
And so District 3, we've got Mr. Roy De Los Santos up against Jessica Puente Bradshaw.
Ooh.
And in the 4th district, we've got Ben Neese. He's the incumbent up against Mr. Pedro Cardenas. Can you hear that music?
Yeah, I thought it was part of the show, but
yeah, is it? I mean, it can be. I just don't know if it's a distraction or not.
It just makes me want to dance.
Nothing wrong with that. So I've got these different sites up, and as soon as the results start coming in, we'll post it. Busy day on the campaign trail for both of these. Haven't heard back from Mr. Cardenas or Ben Neese. Reached out to both. Ben Neese did contact me. He was concerned about a couple things, and I responded to him. And then he just never got back to me. And then Mr. Cardenas never responded, period. And I know Jessica's been out there, doing the campaigning on election day. And I know Roy's been out there as well. A couple of incidents I wanted to bring up that happened out there on the campaign trail, but I just want to see. I think I'm going to wait a few minutes until some of the numbers start coming in.
Dun dun dun. Right?
Yeah, it's freaking drama, that's for sure. Should be interesting to see who wins tonight. It will be, and this race for the 3rd district was not without drama. As you know, we can call it postcard gate, if you want to call it that. Susie, how you doing, Susie? I think I'm going out to New York next month. I think I'll let you know. I will let you know. Betty, who's having a really party next door? We'll get some food. I saw someone taking down one of Roy's signs along the frontage road a little bit ago near the Texas Roadhouse. Yep, that's unfortunately the way people play.
Man.
yeah, it has not been a like I said, it has not been without drama, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. Mr. Paul Lemaster is going to be on with us in a few minutes. Just want to get the talk to just a regular working guy. Hey, Susie, I give you a buzz, tomorrow or Monday or something. Thanks for coming, though. Saying hi. Susie's a coworker, works for the company. She lives out in upstate New York State. District 4, glad I'm not there because they seem to never reply to you. So I know it's, good or bad. If you don't want to be on the show, at least come out and say, hey, you know what? I don't think I want to be on your show. It's like, okay, at least you responded.
I mean, that's tough because if they don't respond pre-elections, how hard will it be to get a hold of them, post-elections?
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. It's also just a matter of respect. You know what I mean? Common courtesy. Give somebody a response and say yes or no. If you don't want to, that's fine. Just say no. And yeah, so that's a concern, and that's something to ask either one of them. Whoever wins, to see what's up with that. Chuck, who do you think is going to win the runoffs? Your guess. The 4th district, I'm going to guess Pedro Cardenas. I think he's got the momentum. I think he's I think, Ben Neese is not without drama himself. He's got some issues going on there, and I think that people are taking it negatively, and they welcome a fresh face. And I think that's what Pedro's got going for him. As far as the 3rd district, I can't say. It's totally up in the air. There have been some issues. We'll call it postcard gate that happened couple of weeks ago, and garnered some support for one, but it also rallied some support on the other side after the fact. So I don't know. I'm not going to call that one at all. That will be interesting. I know Abel, I don't know if you were up to speed on that or not, but I sent you
the postcard gate.
Yeah.
That's so, talk about people doing whatever it takes. That's crazy.
Yeah. Honestly, to be totally honest, and in my opinion, I don't believe that Jessica was involved with that. I believe she's not. She's been called certain things by there's a whole other issue with the LGBTQ task force, but they're making a lot of noise, and I would like to say very unbecoming, because for a group of people that want acceptance and they want to be considered legit and a player, they're really slinging a lot of nasty things, and coming right from the task force. So I'm not okay with that. I think it's a very bad look for the task force to have one person in particular who's making a lot of noise out there and making that whole task force look bad. So I would hate to think that somebody doesn't speak up on the task force and say something about that. So things have been said about Jessica, and I totally don't believe any of it. She's not a Nazi. She's not a. I don't believe.
Whoa.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Jessica is not a Nazi. She's not. I don't believe her to be a homophobe. At least that's my opinion. I don't believe her to be. And it got started. It got ugly. And like I said, once that pot got stirred, support came out for one side, but then support came out for the other side, and it's
gather the troops, they said, huh?
Yeah, and it is going to be interesting.
Yeah, I really believe that the candidates in both districts are all qualified they are in a position that they're in at the moment because they are qualified, and everything that's happening in between, like you said, it's probably not coming directly from the candidate, but it is kind of crazy. It's a whole wild turn that has came about to throw everything to a whole different level where it's getting personal. Things are really just out of politics at that moment. It's a whole personal thing, and that is kind of crazy in my opinion.
Yeah, and the early numbers are starting to come in. Let's see, Paul LeMaster, if you're around, come on, go ahead and log in. It's just a chit chat about this a little bit. And that's a lot of what was going on really turns people off. That's what people hate about politics. The mudslinging and the all the negative talk. It's one of the things, and let's welcome Paul here.
Hey,
hello,
Manny,
sir.
Abel, how are you doing
Hey,
tonight?
Paul.
Hi there, Abel. Nice to meet you.
Hey, nice to meet you, Paul.
Paul, how are you
great.
tonight?
Doing fine, thank you.
Good.
I haven't been on your show since the airport grand opening show.
That's right. Yeah, it's been a little bit. So, just as a citizen, somebody, the working man, you got a house here, you work, and I know you're interested in politics, but the kind of thing that happened in the last couple of weeks that's what, in my opinion, turns people off to being interested in politics. Would you agree with that, or what's your opinion now? How do you feel? How does that make you feel as a citizen, a voter?
It's unfortunate and leaves a bad impression of the city in general when mud gets tossed around, especially derogatory slurs and comments that were made. I heard what you said earlier, and I don't think that Jessica was the sponsor of that or in any means involved with that, but people take up someone else's banner and do really, really things in poor taste. I'm trying to be a gentleman about it, but it's unfortunate. The other race was exactly the opposite. No one said anything bad because no one said anything at all. And if the truth be known, I would say both candidates in District 3 race would probably be better than either candidate in the District 4 race. But I live in District 4, so.
Yeah. So I'm not going to ask you who you voted for, but in your opinion, who was? My projection was that Mr. Cardenas probably had an edge. Some people are tired of business as usual, and I'm thinking District 4 was ready to make a change.
I really expected that in the primary. The first time around, I thought Joe Valdez would probably win because he went door to door and talked to people, and he came in fourth. So I really don't know what to expect tonight. My issue with the current commissioner in District 4 is that I have been very vocal about the fact I'm unhappy with Tent City downtown in our district, and I'm unhappy with the panhandlers. Nothing has been done to clean that up, and it happened under the current administration. So I would like to see change in our district.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to ask you as a citizen. What is your biggest? And you just mentioned a couple of them right there. What's your biggest issue that you'd like to see tackled, somewhat immediately?
I would say that the District 4 in particular, the focus is on downtown and not the whole district. And there are a lot of us in the district that don't live downtown. The majority of the voters are not in the downtown district, but all the money and attention goes there. And we're sort of forgotten out here on the northwest corner. And that's why I supported Joe, and I'm hoping for change. I did vote for Pedro Cardenas. I don't know him. I know a little bit about his family from being down here for a while, but I hate it when I feel like I'm casting a vote against a candidate. But in this case, that's more of what I did. But like I said, Tent City downtown, that is an embarrassment to the city. And underneath all the bridges, the panhandlers that are not hauled out of town, quite frankly, that was my primary issue.
Yeah, and I know that's tough. I mean, they can't just take a van and throw everybody in there and drive them 500 miles away and dump them somewhere. You know what I mean? It's not. I understand that there's no easy way to handle that, but I mean, other cities do it. There has to be something. There's got to be something.
The nicer we make it for the panhandlers, the more we're going to have.
Yep. If there's nothing that's being done, then it's going to keep getting done, and it's just going to grow. That's it, you know.
Yeah, put in bathrooms and showers and features. I mean,
yeah, they got it made.
I'm a really charitable person, but I channel it other ways. I don't want my taxes to support charity that everyone might not agree with.
Yeah. So we got some of the numbers in right now, and Roy Del Santos is ahead, 53.6%. Jessica at 46.38%.
So that's how many votes there, Manny? About 94 votes ahead.
Yeah, exactly. According to 600, and Jessica's got 603, and Roy is 697. And then in District 4, it looks like Mr. Cardenas is running away with this one.
Looks like Mr.
He's doubled up over Bernice.
Mr. Bernice might need those mail-in ballots to come in soon.
Yeah, well, supposedly this is your mail-in ballots. Everything is. That's what this is right here. So he's got the edge with 878 over 412.
Boy, if the politicaros were going to carry him tonight, they didn't show up in the mail-in ballot.
Yeah, no. So I will, for now, put that over here aside, read some of these comments here. Betty Rubble, I just dislike you getting dragged into this baloney because you're just neutral person trying to speak and get their message out. And honestly, people were criticizing me because I had Roy on so many times. But, again, I'll say, people kept throwing things at him, and he kept asking me, Manny, can I come on your show? I want to discuss this. I want to address this, and I want to address that. And, who am I to say no? Sure, you want to talk. And that my door was open to everyone, but not everyone wanted to speak. And so people were thinking I was leaning that way. I'm not in that district. I'm not going to vote. I'm not going to endorse anyone. I'm not. If I endorse somebody, then I'm showing a bias, which I was not going to do. But I wanted, if somebody who wants to talk, in politics, you want to let them talk. And if you have a show, you want them to talk on your show. So,
well, yeah, anybody in politics, I mean, they have a voice that needs to be heard. Like Paul said earlier, the other district, you heard nothing from both candidates. So it's even worse. Like, it's better to just have one of the District 3 candidates run one District 4 and one District 3 at this point, because the people who are more vocal, they show that they're actually more involved. And when it comes down to, like, back in the days, everybody would go and meet under an apple tree, before the internet and all that. So this is your platform where people can come speak, and it's great that you're able to do this. Some people are thinking you're leaning more another way, but it's just whoever's deciding to show up.
And I will say there were some candidates who didn't campaign at all whatsoever, and there were a few that made a lot of noise. Roy made a lot of noise. Jessica was out there block walking, talking to people, doing videos. And if you're not going to campaign to win, then why campaign at all? Why get into the race in the first place? And both of them did great jobs. That's why they're in a runoff. And that's what happens when you get up there and you want your message heard. And the ones that make the most noise are the ones that are going to get noticed the most. So that's what's happening here. Let me refresh this a little bit. Yeah, so that's what it is right now. It's standing at. So 53% is not exactly not running away with it, but I mean, this is it. This is the final deal, right? There's no secondary runoff, extra innings or anything like that.
Let's hope it doesn't come down to a coin toss.
Oh boy, or less than a dozen votes or something like that.
I don't know how we settle ties here.
Oh, I'm sure they would do. Let's not even go there until these numbers are actually final. You guys saw. Well, Abel just saw them for the first time this evening. Paul, you saw those alleged postcards that came from somewhere. My opinion was, I really hate to believe that she had anything to do with it. All right. At least I really want to believe that. However, her response was not satisfactory to me personally. You address it and adamantly, whoa, that was not me. And I was not satisfied with the response. I don't know what you guys felt. Well, Abel, you might not have seen it, but I'm assuming you saw a response, Paul.
I did. It was hard to read between the lines. She declared very clearly she had nothing to do with it, but didn't denounce the message. I really find it hard to believe she had anything to do with that. But
yeah,
it certainly galvanized a lot of support behind Roy's campaign with the people who did immediately. And, it may have been the difference in the election, and I'm not sure. I would rather see it settled on merit than a divisive issue like that. Being a libertarian, I don't keep that a secret. I'm pretty ambivalent to mixing some issues in politics.
Yeah, I asked myself, if I was in the middle of this, how would I handle it? And I would have been out there right away, day one, as soon as this thing became public, and I'd be, whoa, this was not me. I had nothing to do with it. Don't even put my name associated with that. My name's not on the postcard. Done deal. Over. That's the message. Come out early and loud and say, whoa, not me. Name not on there. Don't know who did it. It wasn't me. But the other problem I had with it is that she went from there and then she turned it into a pitch. It's like, but what is wrong with this anyway? It's just like, see, and that's where it got messed up. In my opinion, it's like, don't combine the two. You know what I mean? Like, denounce it and be done with it, and then go do a different thing where you're promoting yourself. In other words, don't combine it.
Because at that point, she could have bounced back off of it, like you said, denounce it and bounce back off of it and say, no, this couldn't have been me because I actually support this, I support that, and it could have been a strength as well that could have been built. But if she didn't use it that way, then I didn't see it, so I really shouldn't have an opinion on it except for that she could have bounced back off and turned it into a strength rather than something to just plummet her.
Yeah, definitely. It was my opinion that night. She could have taken that moment, freaking denounce it real loud and put it way in the past, separate her, distance herself from it. And she could have turned that into a huge ball of support.
It certainly derailed the focus on city issues for the last 2 weeks of the campaign. And that's too bad, because I think I would have rather heard the candidates, their divergent opinions or similar opinions on things that impact the city. And that's not anywhere in the top 5 issues the city's facing right now. Yeah,
in fact, I mean, except for Jessica doing her videos, talking about certain city issues, but no real issues were actually discussed. Everything was postcard, or, Roy's trying to do this with the LGBTQ, and he's trying to do that. And it just became...
She called it an interview with, I think his name is Barham, but it was just pitching underhand, more of a puff piece hour.
Yeah.
It wasn't a real interview because he didn't ask any questions. I mean,
yeah, and
I watched about 10 minutes and then jumped away because it wasn't.
I think people try to stay away from the real questions, so that's why some people turn away the opportunity to be on this show.
Well, she did offer to do town halls if she gets elected regularly, and I would go and sit and listen to them. I enjoyed that from her campaign.
Yeah, definitely. As for any of them to do that, and that was one of the things that was discussed early on, and that would be awesome, especially if they stick to it and they actually go through with it. I think everybody
answered one of my questions about reinitiating in-person city council meetings immediately and having the public back in the meetings. So there were some really positive things that she did say.
Hi, Lynn. Welcome to tonight. Betty Rubble, what exactly was in a postcard for those of us not in that district? Well, I have them. I'm not going to show them. I'm not going to get into that. They were borderline, and I'll say borderline. They were not very appealing. They had they referred to LGBTQ. They referred to Roy, his mugshot, and it was borderline. I'll say borderline because it wasn't exactly hate. I don't know, Paul. Did you think it was actual hate?
I thought it bordered on libel.
Yeah.
It would. I mean, there were, for someone who hasn't been convicted of a crime, if you read it verbatim, it stated pretty much that the guy was convicted of all these things. At least that's what it inferred. It was really walking a tightrope of slander.
Yes.
Yep. Whole defamation thing there.
Because the person's been accused of something, that doesn't mean. Yeah.
That's why I don't want to call it hate, but it was like real close, and it was it's like one of those questionable things that any campaign manager would probably say, "Yeah, no, we're not doing this."
Well, let's just say if it was like a super big thing on Facebook, Facebook would have fact checked it or something,
Oh yeah, exactly.
Because of the tightrope it was on, it was just like, hey, you know what? We're gonna take this off because some of these things are not factual.
Christina, welcome. Thank you for stopping by and saying hi. I saw the postcard on Osmo's Facebook post. Yeah, I mean they're out there. If you want to dig for them, Betty Rubble, you can dig and you can find them. They're not hard to find. They're on everybody's website, everybody's Facebook page right now. Let me refresh this again.
So where are the election result parties being held tonight by the candidates? It used to be everyone went to Vermilion's, but I'm so old, probably nobody does that anymore.
I think they still do. Roy, if I'm not mistaken, was going to do. I thought he was going to do. What's the place over there on the little lake where everybody goes?
Cobbleheads.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Cobbleheads. But I could be wrong. I could ask to see what everybody's doing tonight. Where did he go here? Yeah, I'll reach out to him in a second. Ben Neese, I know he's been a judge for quite a while. I've had some visits with him in the courtroom and with my kid and tickets and a bunch of things. And I mean, he was always a decent guy. And I don't know, what happens to people when they get and they become, I'll just use this term loosely, an officer, a public official. And what happens? Why does that happen? That they just become someone else? And I don't know. They never stick to. People change. I know things happen, right? But like people go to Hollywood, become famous movie stars or whatever, and then they just way out there on another planet. Same with politicians, though.
There was a debate before the first primary held at the park beside the library. I think it's Veterans Park. It was outdoors. And his introduction was so arrogant and condescending that I turned it off. And I remember almost deciding at that minute, even in the primary, that I couldn't cast a vote for him because it was, I really turned me off.
Oh, is that right? Yeah, I think, there's way too much, and you have to acknowledge, and I don't know, I'll be called a Roy lover or whatever. The Roy channel is what they call it. But, there was a lot of we'll call it attacks from the one side to his. And, he didn't sling any mud back. He played it very cool and responded to things either on my show or on his own. He would post things and, and he could have gone low the way they were going. Some of the supporters, I'm not going to say it was Jessica, but some of her supporters, you could say we're going low. Hey, who's that? Who was that there?
Hi.
Hey, everybody. So I don't know. That kind of impressed me that Roy didn't send Mud back. I know he's got a couple of issues where he could have, and he decided to stay on the high road and not sling back. Especially it wasn't coming from Jessica herself. They were just some of the supporters that kept throwing stuff up there, and some of these mysterious Facebook pages that were posting things all the time. But he chose to let it be and keep plowing ahead, and I think he's better for that.
Yeah, I mean, when you put it that way, it's his focus was one thing, and he was going to overcome anything that was coming that was going to stop him from getting there. Looking at these numbers right now, he's currently up, and had they been up right now, if he wouldn't have addressed all the issues that were thrown at him, maybe he wouldn't. But he took that extra time to go and overcome those issues and publicly say or whatever he had to say. And it does make a huge difference, to the public's eye.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, people are always pushing, we want transparency. We want transparency. Well, Roy came out. Yes, he was on my show. He did it every time. And he was an open book. I mean, these shows we did with him were 3 and 4 hours long. And he opened himself up to whoever wanted to ask or comment or address something. I don't believe he turned anything down, and he took it all and he responded to everything as best he could. I think he did. He responded to everything. A few things, he was dancing around this or dancing around that. But I don't think he was being deceitful or anything like that. He put himself out there. He opened his life up, and I don't know how much more transparent you can get than that. Maybe just hopefully, if he does win, we hope that transparency will carry on, as he does his duties for the city.
Yeah. I mean, I gave Roy a hard time the last time on when commenting and all this. Nothing serious, right? But I was always throwing different questions at him, and he answered every single question. I truly respect that somebody can actually take the time to answer questions is great. Like I said, people who can do it pre-elections are more than capable of doing it post-elections. At that point, it's their time to really prove it. But if they can't do it pre-elections, how hard would it be for them to do it, after? So, I mean, hats off to him. Like I said, I think he ran a strong campaign, very focused on what he wanted, and that's the reason he did go the extra mile and have a lot of FaceTime on Facebook and any other platform he was using. I haven't seen that before with other candidates, for somebody to be able to stand against and hear the hate coming and still stand and be able to keep pushing, bro. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I think. Let's see. Who do you go after for defaming? Because I saw someone saying they're going after Roy for the same thing, but I never heard him say anything bad about his opponent. I didn't hear it either. I mean, he didn't talk about her directly too much at all. So these numbers that are here are just the early vote. This is for early voting right here. That's what the numbers that you're looking at there. So we're still waiting on more. They'll be coming in. Hopefully, I don't know, within the next hour, we might have some updated numbers. Yeah, I never heard anything. He really tried hard to take the high road and not start getting into a back and forth. So as far as him defaming, I don't know. Roy does. He does like cobbleheads. Okay, yeah, he does. I know that. The person responsible for the postcard didn't even get the acronym right. They had some of the letters in the wrong order. Did they? Yeah, I saw it. It wasn't a very thought out postcard. It was it looked like a cut and paste job. And so I mean, that's why it tipped me off right away. Yeah, I don't think Jessica's behind it. I just wish she would have done more to knock it down. Hi, Esther. Gentlemen, yes, Roy will be at Cobbleheads. There you go. Roy is there. Copy that. I think Roy had a great response about the charges of being in the elite circle. I do too. That's another thing that came up. Paul, do you see people as elite? I mean, do you see that group or any group of people as untouchable elite or anything like that?
I haven't really experienced that since I've been here. I moved here in '91 and have always been welcomed with open arms in the community. And maybe I just don't go to the right places or see the right things, but I've never felt that had any barriers to being part of the community here. I worked for 3 years on the board of directors for Brownsville Economic Development Corp when it was active before it got split up. Did Leadership Brownsville program, and I've always enjoyed my time living here.
Yeah, I know there are people out there who try to make a lot of noise and throw labels out there and try to, I talked about that before, about people can throw out some negative information or false information and just repeat it over and over and over and over and over again, where eventually a certain crowd of people will just take it as truth. They won't do any research. They'll just take the media, we'll call it the media or social media's word for it. And that's unfortunate. People should do their own research, and I try to having people on so people can get a read on who your candidate is. You make an informed decision when you're going to go vote. And but that negativity, and yeah, it is negativity. It's out there, and some people will just believe it.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely the tough part when you talk about doing your own research. There's people who are, I don't want to say incapable, but they really are not able to do their own research. So they only go by what they're told. The same way that people watch the news and they go by what they're told in the news, they believe it 100%. Like if the news channel goes by the Bible, that's the same thing. When some of these people are receiving these postcards, that's the way they feel when they receive these postcards. So unfortunately, some of this mud that is getting slinged out there, it might have caused a few voters, or word of mouth is a strong thing. So it's when things like this are getting thrown around, it turns things into a whole different situation.
Paul, and I'll ask you, Abel, also. I know you like to hit the beach over there too. What's your take on Elon Musk, or I should say call it SpaceX, kind of using the access to Boca Chica Beach pretty much using it at their will and shutting it down whenever they like? It seems like the original agreement wasn't going to happen so often, but now it seems like it's happening more often than not. Do you see this as a problem personally for you? Did you ever visit that beach at all? What's your take on that?
I think it was inevitable, whether we like it or not. I think that as soon as the agreement was made to let them move out there, I assume sooner or later. What I think the solution is, rather than everyone argue about it, is let's get SpaceX or work with SpaceX in the state of Texas to get a separate access road for them and solve the problem instead of everybody literally throwing sand at each other. Right? I like Boca Chica Beach. It's pretty out there. I don't go very often, but probably go more to Playa Baghdad than I do to Boca Chica Beach. But there's a solution. They can build a road to get over there, build a bridge across the ship channel to the highway and get to the toll road. It can be worked out, I think.
Yeah, and I don't know. I would like to think they can go to Elon and say, look, it was supposed to be this, and now it's this. You got to help us build a road. You got to pitch in. You got to pitch in to build another road, and then just make that belong to part of the SpaceX area.
I mean, Elon Musk, that guy's building underground highways in Los Angeles just to get from one place to another faster. So he can build a few things, but is the real issue that they're shutting it down because they need access to it, or is it because of the explosive things that can be happening while you're driving by?
Both. Mainly, it's when they are going to launch. If there is an explosion or things like that, there's going to be debris flying all over the place, and you don't need families and cars driving by and pieces of metal flying everywhere. I'm sure that's the main reason.
So I guess they would need to build access for the people, that another beach access for the people, rather than another beach access another access for them to get to SpaceX. because regardless if they're launching and they're open, it's a hazard to driving to driving by.
Yeah, I mean that I don't know how. I mean, the road seems pretty nearby, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't been out there yet, but the road is nearby the launch site, correct?
Well, it's within 100 yards. You're literally
Yeah.
right up close to the rockets.
Yeah, because you put it this way. I mean, there's houses. I mean, Manny, you've been to Boca Chica before, so you know
Yeah.
the closest houses that are to Boca Chica Beach. Some of them have gotten their windows blasted, you know, during a blast off.
Yeah.
So you can imagine what it would do to a passenger car passing by at the same time that's happening.
That'd be a disaster. That'll be a disaster. It's you know, there's got to be, I don't know how many times stronger than even airplane jet blast when they full thrust. That jet blast can turn over a car and a truck and send people flying. You can only imagine what kind of thrust is in a freaking rocket.
Wow.
You know, and then the airports out there on the ramp, at the major airports on the outskirts, you've got these walls that are curved, and they're, I don't know how many feet high, 15, 20 feet high. But any jet blast that gets generated will it'll go vertical.
Like it bends the air, basically.
Yeah, instead of letting it go through a fence, it'll just curve it and send it up. You know, maybe that's something like that should be considered. Kind of turn the whole area into a bowl, kind of a bowl. You know what I mean? I don't know how feasible that is, or if that's. I'm not a rocket scientist, so just a thought from a regular guy. Let's see, Linda Lopez. Well done, Manny. Oh, what did I do?
I think that's well done hosting these shows that you've been hosting.
Oh, I don't know. We'll see. Linda's got some opinions too. But thank you, Linda. I hope that's a good thing. You expect people to do their own research. Also depends where and what sources they get their own research. Can be right or left bias. Yeah, and that's why you really got to do a lot of research. You have to look at, you know, for as much as people hate Fox News or people hate MSNBC or people hate CNN, you kind of have to watch everything and read papers and read the Washington Post, and you got to read the Wall Street Journal, and you have to just look at different avenues and, you know, formulate your own opinion, you gather your information. You can't just watch one thing, watch Fox News 24 hours a day, go, yep, that's right, everything else is wrong. It's not how that works. Esther James, Roy is a professional and a hardworking young man. He focused in what he is doing. Yes, I believe that, to get the job done right. He's always been an honest man. He even said, go out there and vote. However you feel is the right candidate, just vote. He is fair and a good sport. Yeah, I've heard him say that a bunch of times. Just, you know what, whether you vote for me or you vote for my opponent, just the important thing is that you vote. And the low voter turnout, again, is just something horrible. Paul, low voter turnout, what's the reason for it?
Apathy.
Yeah, that's a big one. I don't know. Are politiqueras, those kind of people, are they as prevalent now as they were, you know, even 10 years ago? I don't know. I couldn't say. I've never. I keep hearing about it. They're like this Men in Black kind of thing. You know, they're kind of mysterious and they're out there. But
I used to watch at the public library in Central, van loads of people be picked up at the nursing homes and brought down there, and someone would go out and fill their ballots out for them in the van. That's probably been 10 years ago. But I haven't seen it recently. But I hear it goes on, but I haven't personally seen it.
Yeah, and that's my thing too. I hear it goes on, and I've heard it goes on. Abel, is that something you've heard about also? You've been here longer than I have. Both you guys, I think both you guys have.
Oh yeah, just like Paul mentioned, you know, that's a big thing. The whole vans, you know, talk about the Men in Black, you know, come and kidnap you and take you to vote. It's crazy though how some candidates have to basically pay for their vote. You know, at that point, it's not a fair race. I mean, if they're really, really in it for their city, why not let the best person win? Why do you have to pay for votes? You know, instead of, like I've always said, the biggest issue with low voting here in Brownsville is that they don't spend enough time educating people on voting, and it's okay with them because it works out to their favor.
Here we got an update. 4 out of 5 precincts, so we're at 90%. And Roy is at 893 votes versus 748. So in other words, 54%, almost 54.5 to 45.58. And Pedro Cardenas continues to be way, way ahead.
Well, does that show? It shows 100% for city commissioner for District 4. Is that correct? Is that
there it is. Yeah, for District 4, that's a done deal. Let me refresh that again. So for District 4, it looks like that's a done deal. Mr. Pedro Cardenas has taken that seat.
Congratulations.
Now that's one person. I don't think I've heard him speak at all. You know, it's like the young lady who ran against Erasmo Castro, Yuri Peña. Was it Peña? I think she just come out of nowhere and people voted for her. I mean, they did vote for her. I know she stole some votes, but even if you split it up, it still wasn't enough. But these numbers there they are. What do they call it when it's the projected winner, Mr. Pedro Cardenas? And we are still waiting for another precinct for district number 3. I keep refreshing this thing every little bit here.
So isn't Mr. Cardenas the owner of Mi Pueblito restaurant here?
That's what I heard. Yes, sir.
All right, so maybe that's where that reception will be tonight.
Yeah, that's a good guess. I would agree with that. What about ferry boats from the island to the south side of Boca Chica? They can close at least a safety zone a mile from the launch site or something like that. That's interesting.
And we had ferry boats when the causeway got knocked down. It's not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, what a mess. I mean, a second causeway, a second highway going onto the island. I find it absolutely necessary. These wait times on that bridge is ridiculous. And I'm not talking during spring break. I mean, I know it's even worse then, but
whatever happened to that? I had heard, maybe 5 years ago they were planning on building a second causeway, and then it's been years later, but no other talks.
I heard that there was a group talking to do a second causeway over in the northern part of the island. I just don't know if that's gone anywhere at all. But that would definitely be helpful. I looked at Google Maps to see any alternative routes. Creating a road that parallels the ship channel will be about 12 miles to get to the jetties. But I saw there was an oil pipeline business located at the north end of Boca Chica. Another alternate route that follows the Rio Grande to the mouth will be shorter also. See, there are options. It's just who's going to pay for the damn thing. That's the main thing that's going to come up. Let's add the number that go out and vote. Congrats, Mr. Cardenas, who beat the incumbent. Now the nail biter, Jessica versus Roy for District 3. Mr. Cardenas didn't need to speak. His supporters did the talking. Well,
apparently so.
Yeah. In his case, apparently so. I keep refreshing these. We'll give that final precinct a few more minutes before we refresh that again. So, so Elon Musk apparently some more money. He sent some more money to the city of Brownsville. And, we talked about this before. Paul, I've talked about this numerous times. And, I don't, and I know why people are reluctant to just trust. But honestly, I don't think there's any kind of conspiracy, of who's going to get that money or who's going to pocket that money or who's going to benefit. Only a few people will benefit from that money, that $10 million or more at this point. If it was anybody else, somebody locally, I thought, he's got friends down here. But, we're talking about a global guy. Elon Musk is he's not just going to say, "Hey, here's 10 mil. I'll come back in a year."
Anything to own a city.
I don't know. Is that a bad thing? I was in Miami. I was in Miami to visit my kid last week, and it's such a thriving, booming place. I mean, there is business, small business, everything is going up everywhere. And then when I got back here, I was like, man, this is okay. There you got 100%. 100%. And it's like Mr. Roy de los Santos is a projected winner with 54.28% of the vote. And Jessica Ponte Bradshaw is at 45.72. And if you would look at the votes, 894 to 753. And as we reported, Mr. Pedro Cardenas has taken his race in District 4 over Ben East.
Yeah, when you look at the totals, it's about the same, about 1,600 on one end and 1,500 on the other district. So it looks like the average is right around 1,500 per district as far as voters. Is this the overall votes, or is this just the votes from like
this is everything
runoff,
now this is everything. Oh
okay.
No, this is just a runoff.
Okay.
Yeah, at least I believe it's just a runoff. I don't think they would put the votes in from the last. Yeah. So there you have it. Looks like Roy is the projected winner, Mr. Cardenas. Paul, you saw this more than Abel did. Now, speaking a little more freely about it, this postcard gate, her responses, like I already stated my opinion. I think she could have done something a little different, and it might have gone. It could have gone. She could have capitalized on it. Do you think that hurt her? Do you think these numbers hurt her, or do you think maybe she was already behind?
When it happened, there were probably 3 or 4 days of early voting were already finished. So whatever it did or didn't do affected the late voting. So like me who voted the day the polls opened, I would say it didn't matter at that point. So it's difficult to say, and out of 1,500 votes, there were probably 400 or 500 votes already cast when this postcard thing started. So might have pushed 200 votes. I don't know. I don't know. No matter how she reacted, if it would have swung the election, she lost by a very small margin. So I watched a lot of it, and
yeah,
I was satisfied with how both candidates ran their race. I was just disappointed that attention got focused away from city issues. But if I listened to both of them enough, they really tried and had decent platforms, and I would have been happy with either one of them in that city.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan. If we're talking just campaigning, I'm a big fan of what Jessica was doing. I mean, traditional block walking, getting out there, even in the face of COVID. And some people didn't want to. She did say some people didn't want to open their doors, or they were reluctant at first. But that's what you like to see. That's how you want to see candidates knocking on doors, out in the street, talking to everybody. And I think that's awesome. I'm glad that she didn't just go to social media and just stay digital. And and same with Roy. I think they both did very well. And ultimately, probably either one of them would do a respectable job, I would think, in that position.
I would like to see either one of them run for an at-large seat. I would, certainly give them a lot of fair consideration.
And there it is. So the numbers are in. Mr. De Los Santos has taken District 3. Mr. Cardenas has taken District 4. And District 4, that was a very, very, I guess you can call that a landslide, I suppose. Just over 1,000 votes to just under 500.
2-1. That's convincing.
Yeah, still, in my opinion, the whole postcard thing, I don't think it made a whole big deal, because at the end of the day, the people who are voting, again, I go back to the undereducation that the public has as far as voting. Like I said before, a lot of people don't even know what district they live in. So when it comes to the end of this race, we look at numbers and we see the turnout on the low voters, and we already know the people who were going to vote, they already knew they were going to vote for that person since day one. That postcard, maybe it got another 100 voters or less. I don't think it went as far as winning the race or losing the race. The intentions were totally wrong, but I really hope that in the future, these candidates who won now, they focus on also building a platform where we can educate the public on voting, because people don't care in reality because they don't know. If they knew, they would care. My opinion.
Yeah, low voter turnout is that's going to be a long something that needs to be addressed, and something has to be done about that, because it's very shameful to have a city of 185, arguably almost around 200,000 people at this point, and you get these low numbers. Even I don't know how many people live in the 4th district. Any idea, Paul, what the population is?
I'll take a wild guess and say 40,000.
Yeah, I've heard that number, right around 40, give or take. And to have only 1,500 people come out,
5% turnout.
Yeah.
I'm not that good at math, but
yeah, it's not a good situation. I think educating the public should definitely be, generally speaking, on the top of the list. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I totally believe that, in the beginning of voting, everybody was in it because everybody was interested in the next elected official. Sorry, my smoke alarm's ringing now.
That's cool.
And at one point, it just totally took a turn where it didn't matter who voted no more or who knew and was educated on it or not, as long as, like, for example, as long as I know I have my 1,000 voters supporting me, I can go out there every year and beat everybody, because my opponents are not focusing on educating, and the education doesn't matter no more, because the people who will keep growing every single year, all they're doing is building their base.
Yep.
But it's not a fair race at the end.
Here's a crazy idea. There was a lot more turnout in the primary election because there were city charter issues on the ballot. Maybe if the length of time between the primary election and the runoff was a week instead of 2 months,
right,
there was still enough motivation and energy there that people would turn right around and vote immediately. Maybe the candidates wouldn't like that, but I'll bet it would significantly increase the participation, because it's still fresh in people's mind.
Yeah, absolutely. You wait a couple of months and you're like, I do this again. I already voted, and then I bet a lot of people didn't come out again who came out the first time.
I mean, some people are even blind to any issues in the city, in their district. They're blinded to any issues. They don't care about the issues. They just want to be left alone. And the issues will continue year after year after year until they realize, hey, there's actually a pothole, right in front of my house that could be fixed. And I've seen 3 hubcaps roll off and one car, lose a wheel or whatever. And as long as that continues, again, I think it's really important for everybody to push that education to the people, bro.
So let me get your opinion on this. I'll ask you, Abel, and Paul, you can answer right after him. Is it wrong for the mayor to come out and show his support to one of the candidates? Or should he go ahead.
I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I'm glad he takes a position. I don't have to agree with it, but I don't like somebody who's takes a free pass and is neutral on everything. So
yeah,
he's got to run again, and he's got to have some history. So
yeah, I mean, it's not illegal. I don't think it's not wrong. I mean, he's a citizen too, and he's got to vote also, and he can, whether he's gonna, I don't know whether how much support or how he shows support, that could be discussed also. But
I mean, I don't think it's not legally wrong, but morally, it might be like on that tightrope we were talking about earlier, because it's not going to be a fair race for somebody who's just on the fence and they don't know who to vote for. So they just support the mayor. So they go and chase the same vote because that's who they support without taking the time to hear the other side of the opponent, the story, or what they stand for. It's just an automatic thing. And that's my opinion, just like we all have our own. Right?
Snoopy, welcome. Betty Robles, the causeway was horrible just a few weeks ago. 3 hours wait to cross. Yeah, I mean, stuff like that just keeps me from going over there. I'm not going to be on a bridge for 3 hours each way.
God forbid somebody would get hurt out there or get sick and need to get back across on an ambulance.
Yeah, I mean, what happens? I mean, does everybody really move over and let the ambulance come by? I'm sure it's had to happen at some point.
There's not really room to get over most of the way across there.
Yeah, Chuck said, didn't Mr. Bezos' ex-wife just give an organization in Brownsville millions of dollars last week?
$40 million to UTRGV. Yes,
40 million.
40 million.
Wow.
We might be saying. I'm sorry. We might be saying that. What is it called? That Amazon. What is their space thing called? The Blue or something like that?
Oh yeah, Blue.
I forgot the name of it, but we might be seeing that coming out here pretty soon.
Let's see. That's a horrible way I looked that up. Hang on a second. So I know that they had, I don't know, there was talk of the Brownsville, the city had some kind of a press conference a couple days ago. And they were announcing the gentleman, I forget the name. Oh, it's called Blue Origin. And some announcement having to do with, I know part of the money was coming from Amazon. And they're talking about this being a location where Amazon deliveries and things like that are going to be originating from, or a distribution point, perhaps. Like some of the larger cities, they have the little drones, or you can do same day Amazon purchases and you get your stuff the same day instead of waiting a couple days. Oh, that's got to be good for the city. I mean, seems like more jobs can be created there where you don't need these highly specialized, rocket engineering people and rocket architects and all that kind of thing. Anybody bringing business into Brownsville, it's got to be a good thing. At least in my opinion, it is. Let's see. I was rooting for Jessica, of course, and she was so close to. I hope Roy does right by Brownsville. Pedro Cardenas as well. Pedro obliterated Ben Nice. Yep. His people came out, that's for sure. Elon, Betty Rubble needs money too if you're giving it away. And the needy, he already got that right by the airport change. Oh, that road changed to, it's called Starship Road. Did you notice that? They changed the name of the street. I think it's that little piece right off after.
Wow.
I think it's the one right after Billy Mitchell, isn't it? Is that the one she's talking about? Starship Road. Congrats, Roy. Snoops. I agree, Linda. Even though Cardenas didn't come out on forums, the people came out to support him either way. And that's fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It'd be nice to hear from people, know who they are. Yes, I must say the change in District 4 was needed. Let's hope Mr. Cardenas is not another Mr. Munguia. That now he is approachable and reveals his plan. Oh, we got a Gay Peanuts here. How you doing, Gay Peanuts? Anybody know if Del Santos is it? Okay, no, don't care about that. I really think Jessica should run again for another city position. It seems like she has the support and platform for it. And she is. She could. She's capable. 100% capable. So I hope this is not the last that we see from her. Benny's finally. Okay, that's funny. That was actually funny. Yes, Chuck Nelson, Bezos' ex-wife only $40 million. Yep, to UTRGV. Sorry, guys, gonna catch up here. The public has spoken. Linda, I think regardless of the results, those candidates still can still contribute to the city. I think a title is lovely, but you'd be amazed. And I've said this before, when they were here, when they had Erasmo and Roy having their little discussion, how nice it would be, and even Jessica, when we did that, how nice if they could work together. And it seems like they all want to and they agree to. It's a kumbaya moment, and then as soon as the debate is over or the discussion is over, everybody scatters and nobody's going to work with each other anymore. And I think that's unfortunate. I think great minds, and I think they're all capable. They could really do a lot of good for the city, and if they were more involved. 5 to 10% turnout for a district. Wow, that's abysmal. Yeah, it's sad. It really is. 5% voter turnout, District 3, abysmal. District 3, don't complain if you didn't come out to vote. That's the word. If you didn't come out to vote, you can't complain. I agree with you. Low voter turnout is ridiculously low for both very big districts. Snoopy, I don't agree with that. A mayor should be endorsing anyone, my opinion anyway. If that's a reason why people voted for Roy, then that is wrong. You're influencing someone's vote. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that just yet. I don't think it's what's the word I'm looking for? I think of my word I'm looking for. Hey, Jimmy Vela, how are you, sir? Jimmy, are we going to see you out there campaigning for something else anytime soon? What do you got planned? Starship Road is before entering the airport, the side road. Oh, okay, gotcha. Yep, gotcha. Yeah, Paul, if you got to go, hey, it's your time here is appreciated. The numbers are out there, and if you got anything else you want to comment on or say, feel free. Otherwise, you're free to go.
I would love to say thank you for the invitation, and keep up the good work, Manny. I appreciate your show. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Thanks for coming on. Your opinions are valid and important to me, and I'm sure to everybody else as well. Thanks for giving us a few minutes, Paul. All righty. Let's see. Comments. Any more comments here? Relevant. Yes. Gotcha. So, in case you missed it, the final numbers are in. All the precincts have been reported. Everything has been counted, and blow this up a little bit. You can see it a little bit better. There we go. There are your numbers for district number 3. Roy De Los Santos comes out on top with 894 votes versus 753. Oops, let me get this guy back on here. Okay, welcome back.
All right. You hear me, Manny?
Yep, we got you. Perfect. So 894 to 753. In other words, 54% versus 45%. And Mr. Pedro Cardenas taking a huge, resounding victory over Bernice with 67, almost 68% versus 32%. So again, somebody said it wasn't important. Not important that we heard from him publicly because his supporters voted for him, and they did. But that's a big one. That was that's a big one, but it was a resounding one. That's for sure.
I mean, if you look at numbers, right? We look at District 4 versus District 3 for a person who didn't campaign and turn out with 1,045 votes. I mean, they did have their campaign, but maybe not as outspoken as other candidates, right?
Yeah.
Compared to the turnout in District 3 for people who actually went out there, knocked doors, came out on shows and everything, definitely shows the supporters that Mr. Cardenas has. And there's strong supporters for a reason. I'm taking a wild guess here.
Yeah, and I was curious to see how this postcard thing was going to affect them both. It could have, yes, it could have hurt Roy, and yes, Jessica could have benefited from that. I think if you are truly not involved with something, and I'm going to state my opinion now, I didn't want to comment on this before Election Day because I don't want to be accused of leaning one way or the other. I didn't want to hurt anybody's chances or give anybody an edge. So that's why I stayed quiet. I stayed low key. I didn't get online. I might have given some private messages that I was having. I might have given them my personal opinions here and there. But I didn't come out public with any of this because I didn't want it to benefit or detract from someone. So now that it's over, and we talked about it a few minutes ago, she could have done more to distance herself from that situation early and loudly, and totally disconnect herself from it and say it wasn't me, just like we talked about a few minutes ago. Postcard wasn't for me. My name's not on it. Hey, I don't believe in that kind of hate or the message that they're trying to, not me, and move on and make it go away. But that's not how she handled it. Did that hurt her chance, or did it take away votes from her? That's something we'll never know.
I still strongly believe that the postcard didn't make much of a difference. It wouldn't have taken votes from either candidate because, again, the people who actually vote, they already know who they want to vote for their own reasons. And it's not because of a postcard. Definitely, it's not because of a postcard. They want to vote for somebody because they believe in them. There's certain issues that have been brought up and the candidate responds correctly. So unfortunately, when we look at these numbers, not even a postcard could have made them better or worse.
Yeah.
What could have made them better is having more people out there like to vote for the real things,
Well, I mean, could that postcard?
I mean,
that postcard hurt Jessica as opposed to help her?
I don't think so. It's like me. I mean, I'm wearing for example, man, I'm gonna take it to football. I'm wearing my Cowboy shirt. They haven't won since who knows when, right? But it still doesn't change my mind because that's the team I like. And it's the same thing if I got a postcard saying, hey man, wear a Houston Texans shirt or something else. My mind is already made up who I'm going to vote for because they're addressing the issues. Maybe, some people sitting at home got the postcard and they were able to read it and just sit there still on their recliner and be like, oh man, what an evil man. And not even got enough to go vote because they're not voters.
Yeah.
The problem is, again, is a voting, man, low voters. It turned out great, for like Pedro Cardenas. When we see those numbers, it's like you said, a landslide. So there's something he's doing right there in his community, I believe.
Hey, Snoopy. Manny, thanks for coming on live. Been a while since I heard from you. Yeah, I haven't been on since the 9th. Yep, Ben will be back on. He's got some stuff going on too. I'll talk to him over the next couple days, and we'll see when we get back on live together. You need to return to your regularly scheduled program. Yes, I know, I do. It's the whole Nebraska thing. The hotel I'm at is not. Hopefully, the internet's been good today, and there hasn't been any kind of lagging or whatever. But it has been a problem, and it got frustrating. I don't know if you saw a couple of the last shows I did where it was. I was visibly frustrated, and I couldn't even get back online. So that's when I said, you know what, I'm not going to do any until for a little bit. As I see it, Lind Lopez. As I see it, Ben East did too little, too late. Voters spoke. Now city moves on. As far as Mr. Santos, let the city move on as well. Time to work. That's right. Let's get to work, and let's. And I will. There was no favoritism. It's just he was willing to come and talk and answer things and respond to things, and he wanted to okay. What show is not going to want that, right? It's good for business, so to speak. And now, yes, we will hold his feet to the fire and a lot of things that he talked about. Let's make sure that he goes through with it. Yeah, let's see, Betty. I wonder if Mr. Cardenas will come on your show now, to let people know what his plans are for his community, different what the past has done. I will reach out to him again. I'm not going to beg. He didn't want to come out the first time. I don't think he did many shows. I will ask, but I'm not going to beg. I may reach out, as a congratulations, and you want to come and talk about it. See what he says. I think the postcard was unnecessary. I agree. Voters already made their minds up. Yeah, I'm sure that there's a big part of that is true. I believe the way responded hurt her. I think so. I think either it did a little bit, or it could have a lot worse. Snoopy says, I agree with Abel. The postcard, in my opinion, didn't make the difference. And let's see, where am I here? Betty Rubble. It was a good race for Roy and Jessica because they both had great ideas and thoughts of a better Brownsville. Will a postcard change it? Maybe those who don't know the facts or watch these forums. Yeah, I would hate to think the whole thing came up about homophobia and hate and all that. I would hate to think that even, some of Jessica's supporters were starting to get hate mail and hate messages and stuff. And that's, I have a problem with somebody on the LGBTQ task force who's being real nasty to a lot of people. And I think that's wrong. And I think it's so wrong that, I would call for them to be removed. It's like, you don't need anybody like this, especially if you're trying to be a legit task force with good intentions. And then you've got somebody spewing all kinds of noise and attacks on people, publishing phone numbers so they can get phone calls and stuff. And that's, what do you call that? Doxing, I guess. And it's just, yeah, that's wrong. And I think they need to do something about that. And I'm going to bring that up again. I'm sure Roy will gladly come onto the show now and we can talk about the race. And I will bring that up again. I've told him privately, and I will tell him again. I think one or two people on that task force need to be either silenced or, removed. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. What else we got here? I actually liked her at the beginning, but wasn't happy the way she responded to some of the answers. Yep, I feel you there, Hungry Hippo. Thanks for saying where you stand on the postcard. I was wondering what was your opinion on it. And yeah, like I said, I didn't want to say anything during the early voting and anything before election day. I didn't want it to help either side. That's why I just waited till this time to come out, and there. Now I said what I said. And I think that's the right thing to do. Somebody asked me why didn't I endorse somebody? Who am I to endorse? What am I? I'm nobody. I'm just a dude online with a little show. I don't have millions of followers. I'm not a gigantic owner of a corporation or of some kind of organization or anything. That's so for me, I'd rather just put the information out there and let you guys decide.
I mean, you've definitely provided a neutral platform for anybody who wants to come on, right? For anybody who wants to come on and be heard neutrally. Yeah,
and I can invite people, but I'm not going to beg. If they don't want to come on, then they don't want to come on. I'm not going to beg them. And, that perception might make it look like I'm favoring someone, but that's not how it is. I never said vote for Roy. I said vote. Go on and vote. If you like what Jessica has to say, then vote for Jessica. So I'll have anyone on, and I will took some criticism from someone in particular of how I conducted the interview. And, I never claimed to be an expert. I like to think I do okay with it. And I will look to improve. I always try to do better. I want you guys to be well informed. And I will do my best. But if somebody wants to come on and talk a lot, I'm okay with that. And my door is always open to anyone, to everyone. Let's see if it's true that Roy will continue to come on. He said he would if he's where to win. Let's see what he really does. I got a feeling he will be. In fact, I want to reach out to him in a little bit and see when he wants to. Well, I don't know. I should reach out now, see if he wants to do a live from wherever he's at.
A live congratulations.
Report it to the ethics committee. That too. Manny, what do you say to the people who said that you were giving Roy preferential treatment? Well, I just spoke on that right now, Snoop, because he was on your show a lot. I read and heard about it on different shows. Yeah, a lot was said about it. In fact, a lot was said, and a lot of nasty things were said. If you guys didn't hear what was said, I really rather not repeat it. You can message me privately and I'll tell you. But a lot of foolish things were said, and some friendships ended over it. And you know what? I'm moving on, and I'm looking forward. And I tell all you guys this: in your life, remove negativity from your life, and move forward, and don't look back.
That's the best thing you could do in any circumstance. Get away from the negative. Yeah. Quarantine yourself from the negativity.
Yep. I'm not going to apologize for anything because I didn't do anything wrong. anyway, that's where I'll leave that. Consequences need to be followed and enforced. I agree. Go Roy. Yep. Hey Ben, how you doing, Ben? He's in Chicago. I wish I was there, man. Roy and Pedro, that's correct. Just be careful who you open your door to. I have battle scars from your pals at RP. Yeah, so do I actually. And yes, I totally understand that, and I get that, and I've learned hard in a couple of instances. But yeah, a lot of nasty things were said because you know if you guys have a show and you want to get viewers and people to watch, and you got somebody who's willing and he's a candidate, and somebody's willing to come on and talk and open up their life, and what are you gonna tell me you didn't want to have him on? You wouldn't have him on 3 or 4 times?
I mean, let's just put it the other way. I mean, did you close the door to any other candidate and say no, you can't come on my show?
No, I've never rejected anybody. Exactly. There is one person we did with RP. We had this woman on who was a controversial.
Here on
yeah, no, I won't. If anybody wants to come on and say something, as long as you don't say hateful, stupid crap, you can come on here and say whatever you want. My door's open.
Well, can I say this? Did the people who voted for Mr. Cardenas walk away with a vote for Pedro sticker? Because maybe that's why he won. Vote for Pedro.
Vote for Pedro. That's funny, right? That would have been good, but not original. But it would have been funny.
Sorry, I had to bring it up.
Let us go on. Yes, Linda, absolutely. Go on as in move on. Yes. Go on as you want to come on the show. Yeah, you can do that too. Positivity is the best form of medicine. I know you meant best, not beat. Negativity will kill the soul. Lesson learned. Yes, agreed. Thank you for answering all the difficult questions, man. You're very open and transparent. I appreciate that. I just try to be me and be honest as much as I can. I want to give my opinion. I'm not trying to push my opinion on you guys. I have my conservative views, but I'm not going to try to convert everybody to be a conservative. I'll listen to anybody who wants to talk, to say something, opposing views. Chuck knows this. Good guy, Chuck. I'm not going to turn anybody down or silence them or anything just because we have different points of view. I don't believe in hate. I think if you're a homophobe, really in this day and age, that you have a problem. I don't care what religion you are. I think if Jesus Christ were to come down tomorrow into Brownsville, into the country, I don't think he would agree with people hating on people. I totally don't believe that. I don't believe he would be okay with people hating on gays or, racist people or, that he would not like that. So for people to be homophobe, we can get into a whole other show talking about this, which I don't feel like doing that right now. Yeah, there are some things. Okay, we can talk about that. You got some more time, Abel?
Just about another 2.5 hours, I think.
Oh, that's it? Okay, cool. So I heard that. Here, let me take these numbers down. For those of you just tuning in, it looks like Roy Del Santos is a projected winner in District 3 with just over 54% of the vote versus Jessica's almost 46% of the vote. Almost 900 votes for Roy and 753 for Jessica, putting Roy on top there. And Mr. Pedro Cardenas has taken a huge victory over Ben Nice, not even a close one, for District 4. Congratulations to those candidates. And for those who did not win, more, I'm speaking to Jessica. She's very capable. I hope she decides to do something else. I think she's very capable. She's a very intelligent woman. I think she has a lot to offer.
Again, these numbers do not project the capability of a candidate. It doesn't project who worked harder in campaigning. This does project the number of voters that you were able to bring in. So it all falls back on, again, low voters and a low voting number. So if we look at these numbers, to the candidates who didn't win, we know that it's your job to bring on double that next year or whenever the next election is held, and you'll be all right if you focus on voter education. It's a very important thing. It's a dying, I would call it a dying art in the whole country, actually. But it all starts at a local level, and this is where we start. If you can get somebody to vote for local officials, you can definitely get them to vote for senators, for governors, for presidents.
Yeah, it's good to get people, and I'm big on getting young people involved. Getting them to learn how it works, and what's the job of a candidate, and then what's your job as a resident, a voter. As a voter, what's the research you should do. What are your interests? What do you care about in the city? Getting answers from the candidates. And even once you're in, what does a commissioner do? What does a mayor do? What does a city manager do? And just get kids involved. I think get them involved at a young age, and that's a step in the right direction.
Right, because like I said, it's a dying art, man. At the beginning, like when the country was founded, like I said, they used to host these meetings under an apple tree or any tree,
Mm-hmm.
And it's really difficult from what the idea was for our democracy to what it has become. At first, everybody in their town was there at that meeting. At least 90% of the people, from what I read, were there because they wanted change. They wanted to make sure everything was there for the town. Everything they needed, everything that was required. They wanted to make sure they had the right leader. But somehow, since I've been born, that it hasn't been the same as it was hundreds of years ago to what it was supposed to be. So we need to really go back and dig back in that history and bring the actual vision back to life. Because if not, this is just going to be run by whoever wants to run it, by whoever is pulling in their voters. Even if I can go out right now and just have 20 voters, and the other candidate had 8, I already won because I had 20.
Yeah.
But what about the other thousands that didn't vote? Why didn't they vote?
There has to be a push for. You remember there was in the 90s, get the vote out, get out to vote. There's got to be locally anyway. I think the city should do a better job campaigning just to get people to vote. A big push, a voting drive. Get people registered, not just registered. It's easy to get somebody registered, but get them to vote and just express how important it is. I think that message should start in the school system, the public schools.
Yep. So somewhere I'm saying that's a page torn out of the history books.
Yep. Best form of medicine. Yes, I had a complete show dedicated to me. Yes, fun times. Yes, I remember. But yes, next topic. Manny, when is your interview with the former host of RP, who has his own show now? Oops, where'd it go? You should sell the rights to Fox and CNBC to spice things up. Yeah, right. Nope. Hey, you know what? Wish you well, and everybody. There's a lot of room in cyberspace for anybody to have their show. And wish him well. Good luck. And Chuck, yes, gotcha. I know Chuck heard me. What happened with 2 DUIs? Nothing. He's got 1 DUI, not 2. He's only got 1. The first one turned out not to be a DUI.
Not a conviction, right?
Not even a conviction. They dropped the whole thing because he was at home. It was not a DUI at all. So once they found the facts out, they dropped that because it was not a DUI. It just turned into a what do you call that? Big public disturbance or something. I forget what those charges are. Public intoxication at home. He was at home. He fell asleep, standing up, leaning on his home, and that's not against the law. So that was dropped. He has a DUI. The one he does have, he's got court coming up for that. I think is this week coming up. And he said he will take whatever's handed down, whatever they decide. He does have an attorney. For many people, a first-time offense is a slap on the wrist. So I can hear it now. He'll be sent to a class and was this and that, and then everybody's like, oh, he got favors done. He got favors done.
I mean, I 100% believe that. You know what? If you get arrested for something like DWI, right? It is a horrible thing because yes, maybe there exists a possibility that you could have crashed and killed somebody. That's terrible. That hurts my heart, right? But if that wasn't the case, right? Let's just say he came out, he's convicted of it. How does that change what he wants for the city? That doesn't change what he wants for the city. I believe, and I hope that I'm not incorrect with that.
Yeah, it's sorry, I was sending a message out here. It is, you're getting into the suppose this or suppose that, where you can suppose a lot of things. You can't live in a suppose this or suppose that.
Right. I don't think that being arrested for something like that is a nonviolent crime. Is going to change anybody. Whether I don't care who the winner was, right? At this point, I'm just saying in general, somebody with a DWI, but their intentions are still to do the right thing for the community. I just think that,
yes, the DWI is bad, right? It's wrong, and hopefully, what comes out of it is that they show you, next time you could get into an accident, you can hurt yourself. You can hurt somebody else, and that's what this first DUI focuses on, is trying to keep it from happening again. So, and if I'm not mistaken, he hasn't taken a drink ever since, and that's another good thing that come out of it. So yeah, we'll see. He will take his lumps or whatever happens, but. Just a warning, so nobody freaks out. Many people who get their first DUI, it's a very light slap on the wrist. He's not going to go to prison for years. He didn't kill anybody. There may be big fines. They may cost him quite a bit. But it, depending on the situation with details, we'll find out details after this Thursday.
Yep. And that's a whole good thing. I have another 2.5 hours. That's a whole different conversation there, because I still believe that in when it comes to the system, in that point, there's a lot of people that do need help that are accidentally addicted to alcohol, or accidentally get pulled over one day the first time they ever drank, right? Yeah. But the system is only focused on arrests, is only focused on convictions, rather than focused on helping the individual.
Right. Yes, exactly. I agree with that. Although when it comes to a DUI, I don't know what's involved. I have no idea, because my drinks are socially, and I don't drink when I'm going to drive, that kind of thing. I wouldn't put myself in that position, and I don't know personally anybody who's been in that situation, so I don't know what the process is like.
Yeah, like me, I haven't, thank God, I haven't been convicted of DWI, DUI. I don't condone it either, but I did work with an attorney for about 2 years, and I have seen good people go to jail, but the system is just a little bit unfair. Again, it's a whole different topic, so hopefully, in the future we can bring that one up, the whole system.
Yeah, absolutely not a bad topic at all. Betty Rubble, Manny is always a gentleman who lets everyone on. Thank you. Yes, I do. He cares and doesn't play favorites or opinionated like other shows. I try not to play favorites. I really try not to. In situations like this. Did it look that way because he came on a lot? Okay, maybe. But again, it's a show, and why wouldn't I want to have? Did it bring viewers for those shows? Sure it did. Did it get me some more likes? Sure it did. It's about show business. I call it show business. So it's a good thing. And again, my door was open for everyone, just not everyone wanted to come on all the time. Let's see. Court is this Thursday. There you go. Is Abel pulling a Roy, asking for more hours on your show? Oh yeah.
I'm just making up for the absences, bro. That's it.
Did Roy? I know we had one session. Did we break 4 hours one time?
I believe so, bro. You told me it was close to 4 hours or above 4 hours.
Yeah, something like that. It was crazy. But show me any other candidate who's going to come on and talk for 1 hour even, and then they want to get off and end it there. Not saying everybody's got to come on for 4 hours, but I'm saying if you got stuff to talk about and things to discuss, I'm not going to cut you off. I hope Jessica runs again too. She's very smart, had great thoughts, and is educated in what this town needs. Even if it's school board, city, or county, she should keep trying. Yeah, we will see. It'd be nice to talk with her as well. I have a feeling people know that there is an election. They just don't want to come out because they think it won't make a difference. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. There's too much of that going on. Too much of that going on. And I'm going to say mostly for the older folk, elders, the moms, the grandma, the grandfathers. It's like, whatever.
I think it's all over, man. Like all age groups. Nobody, like I mentioned earlier, some candidates don't even have to come on any shows to win because they already have their followers. So right. it's just the age groups. It's not even about the age groups. It's about importance of how a person.
I mean, it is, but there's a lot of old school people, really much older. They're elder. I call them elders,
right?
That they don't care anymore. They don't care about anything. They're just, so and that's a problem. But you have to look at what percentage of those kind of people are there out there, and how do we combat that?
I mean, I wish we can break down age groups as far as the actual people who voted, but I'm not sure if that is possible, but
we might be able to get that data somewhere. Chuck Nelson, but the current state and national leaders are making it harder to vote. So voter turnout will be lower and lower. How are they making it harder to vote? How? Tell me, please.
Well, I can see what he might be trying to say. Like I have been trying to state my opinion since earlier. The whole voting thing is it's crazy, man. It's like the more we forget about it, the better it is for them because they already have their voters in their pocket.
Well, as you can see, what happened to Donald Trump and Joe Biden, those votes in the pocket were not enough. So had everyone come out to vote, it would have been a different story. So the problem he's talking about is, or he wants to say there's a problem, is that the Republicans want to make it harder for people to vote so they don't come out and vote that much. People bring up voter ID. Oh, that's racist. Voter ID. You got to show your ID. Here in Texas, well, every time I go to vote, I got to show my ID. Who doesn't have an ID? Oh, well, people can't afford. They have programs for people who can't afford a driver's license or don't drive to get an ID virtually for free. And you need ID to go apply for welfare. You need ID to go apply for a lot of things. So don't give me you need an ID that's being racist, because I think that's a crock of crap.
I just think that voting is just, like I said earlier, a dying art everywhere. If we look at numbers on a national level, it ain't even close to, not even close to 80% of the community, of the entire country that actually voted.
Yeah.
Why? Again, it's crazy. It's crazy. But the less people that vote, it doesn't matter to the candidates because they are actually already have it made in the shade, like they say. They take a gamble when they start educating the public. That's when they take a gamble.
Yeah. So, okay. So what's the population of the U.S.? 330 million. I think that's what the number is. And how many people came out to vote?
I'm super unsure of that, actually.
I want to say it was 60 million. I want to say. So yeah, even that, and and people are turned off by candidates. People don't like Trump for personal reasons. And then you get radical people or people that just come out. They voted. They have their reasons for voting the way they did. But yes, it'd be nice to see bigger numbers, a bigger turnout. And I think the next election is going to be something quite spectacular. I can't wait for it to happen. So, okay, so what are the other issues? Why are they making it harder? I heard somebody say, well, they're closing polls early. Polls are not open long enough. There aren't enough polling locations. And perhaps that's true, but that's an easy fix. I don't think they're doing that to make it harder for people to vote. I just think they need to make more locations available. I don't buy that the voter ID law is racist, not in intent. I hope this isn't like a drinking problem that could affect his seat on the commission and his decision making. He represents the city now. Yep. No, from what I understand, he hasn't had a drink ever since. So, and that's, some would say that's definitely positive. I agree, Betty. You have to do more than take a class to get rid of DUI. Cameron County DA is pretty tough. That is what I've heard. You could be right. Yeah, I have no idea. I know it costs a lot of money. There's the fines that they levy are high. So we shall see. Blah, blah, blah. Where are we next? Okay. Abel, I'm addicted to food. Can you tell?
Not by the profile picture. I can't even tell. No. But I'm hungry for sure. Yeah.
Oh man, don't talk about hungry. I'm freaking hungry. I can't find my debit card. I couldn't order food earlier today. I'm freaking starving. And somebody gave me some stuff to get me by till tomorrow.
Whoa, man.
Oh, junk crap. And it's like, I don't want to do that. It's horrible. I haven't opened that bag, as you could tell. I'm hungry. Hello, Shonda. You missed a good one. You need an ID to buy cold medicine. Yeah, you do. I went to get, what did I go to get? Some kind of Sudafed or something. And it was behind the counter. I had to show my ID.
One of those, I think it's that one, I guess, that they use for like meth or something. And you can only buy so much. I can't remember what the heck that was, but that's crazy.
Yep. Abby got hit with the Trump bug, doing things more for attention than for actual progress, in my opinion. Who's to say the reps won't primary him? What do you mean? Because he wants to build a wall, finish the wall that should have been done?
I mean, I like Abbott, actually, man. I think the guy stands up for Texas and what Texans are. I mean, it's a great thing. Everything he's done, even that seceding process he tried to bring on to say, hey, we don't need you. We'll continue without you. I'm sure we do need the whole country, of course. I'm a patriot. But, whoa, bro, that showed some cojones behind what he stands.
Yeah, and I mean...
Or sits, whatever.
People... That's a horrible thing to say. You're going to get the ADA after you. So now, starting in September, I believe, you don't need a permit to carry your weapon, right? You don't need a license or a permit or anything like that.
Right.
As long as you purchase your weapon legally and it's legit, you can carry. So I wonder what that's going to do to crime.
I mean, the only thing I'm afraid of in that point, I straight up believe that if you're going to carry a gun, you carry a gun. Even felons carry a gun, right? Unlawfully. But, there's good people that do carry guns, and it's a great thing. But how is this going to turn out when you get pulled over for certain reasons? How is the process going to change when a cop asks you for your ID and you reach under your seat to get your wallet? What's going to happen with that? That's more what... that's what I'm afraid of, to be honest.
Yeah, that's still, I know that when you have a permit to carry a weapon, traditionally, at least in Illinois, I think here too, when you get pulled over just for a traffic stop, you have to tell them, by the way, I have a permit to, right? Yeah, I have a permit. In Illinois, it's called the FOID card. I'm allowed to carry, and you have to give that to them when you give them your license, and you have to make your statement right away, and that solves a lot of the problem. Still the same thing, go reach in places, tell them, hey, my wallet's over there, all right, I'm gonna go reach for it. It fell on the floor or whatever. I don't know, just common sense stuff. Let's see, Snoops. In this case, Pedro kept keeping to himself and away from forums wasn't his favor. Yeah, I mean, you got a big business, a popular business, and I'm sure you're able to get the message out locally and let your fans do the talking, right? And I mean, that's one way to do it. It works. But for other people, I guess it doesn't matter. They're not in his district. So you figure, well, what does it matter? But I don't know. I think it's always good to get your face out there. But, you know, it worked for him, so you can't fault him for it. In Texas, they're closing a bunch of polling places that have voted Democratic, especially in their Houston area. The district that the lady from Brownsville is running for is especially hit hard. I have a picture, but it won't let me send it on here. You want to email it? You're going to email it if you want to, man. So out of 330 million population, there's 133 million votes. Registered voters. 133 million. Yeah, even that's not enough. Thank you for that, Shonda. The first thing you tell the officer is you have a gun. Right, exactly. You don't reach anywhere until the cop knows it, regardless of the state license laws, common sense. Absolutely. I don't think it's less places to vote at, because my last 2 times voting, which was presidential and local, and I was the only one in the room. That's what I mean. I don't mind having. There should be enough places in every neighborhood where people can go vote. That I agree with.
I think in some situations, I mean, you can have a voting place at every Stripes or Circle K, and people still won't go to vote because they don't care to vote. I don't think the problem is how many polls are open or, you know, places to vote are open. The problem is people are not caring for it anymore. And there's some spark that we need to bring back on a local level and national level as well.
Yep, that is true as well. Again, I think there needs to be a massive voter drive, not just to register, but to actually vote. And I think Brownsville should do one. I think the administration should do a get out to vote. Get to vote. Voting is good too. Get out to vote. And do a whole, I mean, put commercials up and stuff. Do Facebook pages and Facebook ads. And, you know, there's some people who still advertise in the Brownsville Herald newspaper. Why? Who reads that thing? Nobody. Why waste your money on that? You know, do Facebook, Instagram, social media. That's where people are at. Even older people. In Miami, I had an Uber driver. Dude was 72 years old. And he had his phone. There's a little Uber app. And he's on there. Beep, 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 beep. Yep. Beep, beep, beep. And dude knew what he was doing. Everybody's on social media. Everybody's using technology. So, Betty Robo, come on, man. Little Debbie's your friend. Eat up. I would have sent you money if you asked. Oh, yeah, I know. I'm not like some people where I'm always begging for food. I can't do that. I'd rather starve and not eat till tomorrow afternoon than if somebody wants to buy me pizzas. I'm not going to say no. I'll just put that out there like that. I think in some states, I believe Georgia, they're going to close up Sunday for Sunday voting. And I think people see that as a voting suppression. Oh, they're not going to allow Sunday voting, you mean?
I mean, if you have Monday through Saturday to vote, then why is... I still don't understand, bro. Like I said, that's not the problem. The problem is the people. They don't want to vote.
The core of the problem is getting people just to come out and vote in the first place. Yeah, we got 2 different battles going on there. I still don't think that's suppressing the vote. I don't, Chuck. Sorry, man. Teach civic duty and rights in late high school. 100%. They don't put any emphasis on like it when I was. Me too. When I was in school, it was like, all right, you're gonna learn how to balance your checkbook. You're gonna learn a lot about civics in the city and your mayor, alderman, this and that. And we learned a lot about that. And then I got involved with the campaign when Chicago elected its first black mayor, Mr. Harold Washington. I was involved in that. I worked on his campaign a little bit. And then I became a number runner for ABC News. We were running all the different polling places, getting numbers and reporting back. So I got involved in it early on, and I absolutely loved it. It's something I'll never forget. Well, then the mayor could possibly post daily during early voting and voting day for people to come out and vote. And I'm sure that could potentially help. Trey has a couple thousand followers. Yeah. And it's not just personally. I think the city should do it. I think they need to make their website a little more engaging, a little more fun, a little more modern, a little more up to date. Same thing with Facebook, and get people to want to come to the page more and be interested a little more. Marketing, I think marketing's got a lot to do with it. You're gonna say?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, a lot of the marketing, right? But it has to come from, let's just say, from a fair spot. For example, from, like, in this case, it would have been the city. The marketing would have to come from the city to say, get out and vote.
Yeah.
Let them go out there and send postcards. Somebody had postcards to send BS about somebody else. Why doesn't the city have money to send postcards about, come out here and vote? These people, some of these people are giving out free chicken plates. They're doing all this other stuff. Why not send a postcard from the city of Brownsville saying, hey, come pick up your plate from your favorite candidate this weekend? One of them is going to be giving out chicken. The other one's giving out brisket, whatever. It don't matter, right?
Yeah.
Just for example, I mean, if a postcard could be sent just to sling mud, why can't a postcard be sent just to say, come out and vote? I haven't gotten one of those postcards ever in my life encouraging me to go out and vote. If I go out and vote, it's only because, I'm involved. But any little push like that, there has to be something different.
Okay, I got Chuck. I got it. I'll put that up here in just a second. Teach your kids. Absolutely, man. Parents, besides the school doing it, not just letting the school do it, you should inform your kids and teach them, get them interested. But let them make up their own minds. Don't necessarily, tell them this candidate says this, and this candidate says that. You can tell them what you believe. You're an adult. This is, I'm this way, or I lean that way, or I lean this way. But this is what's being offered. This is, educate.
It's a responsibility, that just like you have to have car insurance, and that's a responsibility. We have to have the responsibility to vote as a community, and yes, show our kids that that's a responsible thing to do, because who knows what our city would have been right now had we voted, 10, 20 years ago for a different candidate who had a different idea, but he didn't have the following of voters. Who knows if we're voting today, where we're going to be 10 years from now, because we had a low turnout on voters.
Yeah.
We don't know. We don't.
Yeah, and if it gets worse, it's going to make these elections more and more difficult and more ugly. My government teacher used to send out voter registration on mail if we were already 18. See, that's cool. That's actually what got me into voting. The fact that my teacher was very vocal about it, and that's how it should be. As long as they don't try to force you to vote one way or the other, That's important to teach your kids too. I said, don't let somebody sway your vote. You listen, ask, question, do your research. Your election board should be addressing voter apathy. They've been elected or appointed for a reason. Agreed. Shauna says, hi, Snoop. I sent you a Facebook pic. Yep, I'll put that up here in just a minute. How much is due to redistricting after the census? That's got something to do with it also. I think they're going to redistrict again, if I'm not mistaken. I think they're working on that now. I'm trying to get my kids out to vote hard when I have trouble getting my wife to go. I have a 100% voting record according to stuff I get in the mail. 100% is good. Both my sons vote in every election. All right, let me put this photograph up here. He's talking about how many places they eliminated. Give me a second here to pop this up. It's not a real good quality thing, so we're trying to get it up here nicely. All right, let's see if I can blow this up a little bit. Okay, how Harris County's polling place distribution would change under State Bill 7. So in these districts here, we got 39, 31. So from 31 and higher, the 141st district would lose 11. We're talking about polling places. 146th district would lose 8. Another district would lose 8. And they keep all this red is districts, polling places that they are removing. Yeah, I don't know.
What about gaining? What about gaining though?
These other districts are gaining additional 18, additional 11, 10, 10, 9, 6, 4.
Now, for example, let's just look at this chart. District 132 has 146,000 voters, almost 147,000, and they gain 18. That might be because of the higher number of voters. I still haven't seen the one way at the top that actually lost the most. They only have 84,000, so they lost 11. I'm guessing those were kind of spread out to another polling place that needed it as a resource because they have double, almost triple the amount of registered voters.
Okay, let me see. All but two state house districts represented by Democrats in Harris County would see a reduction in election day polling places under the GOP's priority voting bill. In most cases, those districts have a far higher share of eligible voters of color than the districts that would gain voting sites. And it's interesting in this last column here, they have to tell you white voting age population.
So then they talk about district 128 and 129. Those are the two that didn't lose anything.
Yeah. So he's showing here the ones losing. You can see these are Democratic precincts.
I see.
The ones gaining are Republican. So that's what they're trying to say is that they're shutting down.
Well, let's just look at it fairly, right? So one of them lost 11, one of them gained 11. District 130 gained 11. They have 143,274 registered voters, compared to 84,000 registered voters. I mean, I wish we can actually get a number of how many polling places they actually have, because right now we're only seeing how many they lost. Yeah. What if District 141 has more than the other district, 138 or whatever that district was? We're not seeing numbers of how many actual polls they have. We're only seeing how many they've lost. I think this is an unfair chart to base ourselves on.
Yeah, I think so also. And again, I'm going to say, I don't think it's for the purpose of keeping people from voting. I don't think so. I mean, prove it to me. And then somebody else is going to say, what about voter ID? Again, we go back to the voter ID thing. It's like, personally, I think everybody who's a U.S. citizen should have a state ID or some kind of ID.
I mean, there's a lot of numbers missing here. We were able to see, okay, there's 84,000 registered voters here. How many actually voted in this district versus the other one? Well, maybe they need more polls, or maybe, like I said, maybe District 141 already had way too many polls that were unnecessary, where the low, right. The voting, if you come in and there's only 3 people who show up to vote, why do you have the poll open?
Exactly. What if you got, we got 10 of them right there, but you get 12 people that go in and vote. So they're not really, it's like a waste of resources.
Right. So there's enough data here that you can't really make a just decision just based on the data. There's good data, but there's missing data.
Hey, is it dark in Brownsville already? Is it nighttime?
It's nighttime.
Yeah, here it's, what time is it? 9:03. Look at my weather out here.
Whoa.
Still daylight.
Lucky.
Hey, there's a rainbow. Can you see the rainbow?
I don't see it.
Yeah, see it? Look at it.
Oh, I see it now. Yeah, on that left pane of the window.
Oh, I see the sun. Anyway, sorry about that little distraction. I just found it. I told Abel before, I've been out here at work here in North Platte, Nebraska. We're on North Platte it's closer to the western edge of the state, and it borders mountain time. So it's almost 10 o'clock at night later, and it's still daylight out. That's why. Let's see. With Snoop says, with Brownsville having so many committees, you'd think that one would be formed to work on voter apathy. Yes, I agree. They have mundane committees here and there. Yeah, again, and my question, one of my questions was at first, people keep thinking I favor Roy and I'm all pro all this stuff, but one of my questions was what happened that they decided a committee was needed? Did something happen, or because I didn't think there was a lot of hate going on against the LGBTQ community. At least from what I heard, I didn't think there was a lot of hate or anything. I think I got my. You know what? I'll save that for another show. Exactly. Free beer. Many will vote. Yeah. See, I see so many buy beer at Stripes. Tacos aren't enough anymore. Yeah, that's so wrong that people would buy. You offer them beers. Oh yeah, then they'll vote, right? Yeah, that's not good. I love civics class. I think this year's Texas is making it a requirement for graduates. That would be good. All that stopped due to COVID. No political parties. No beer parties. MTV used to do something with voting. Yeah, there was Rock the Vote. MTV had Rock the Vote, getting young people out there to vote. But it was quite successful from what I understand. Why not have news channels or local radio stations also get the word out? Yes, exactly. That's what we're talking about. Marketing. Get school. Oops. Sorry. Get schools and colleges involved. This year might have been slow because of the pandemic. You have to take that into account. I say that was definitely the case. Shauna had a great point. It might have a lot to do with the last census. Could be. Snoop says, I know that Osmo hates on the chicken plate thing, but apparently it does make some difference. I mean, how else are you getting the poll out? Getting the poll out there. Yeah. You got to give out something. I mean, you shouldn't have to. And, I think it would be good to find things.
Better than a postcard.
Yeah. I think whoever did that postcard, I mean, I'm going to say it. I think they were trying to help Jessica. I think that postcard backfired. It didn't do the intended purpose, what they intended for that. So again, I'd like to think she was smarter than that to be involved with that. That's my opinion. But I don't think enough was said against it. Did it have an effect? Yeah, now talking to you guys, probably not. I think a lot of people had their decisions made up. They just hadn't gone out to vote, and then they did so. You think COVID had an effect on voting? And yeah, to some point. I think even though Texas is open right now, I think people are still starting. It's a comfort zone still, being having your mask on, being at home, not being out in public. It's going to take a little while before people get really free and bold enough to go out and start living normally. At least that's what I think. Abel, you got anything else you want to bring up while we're here? I keep looking outside. It looks really cool. That rainbow's nice.
Must be nice. Nothing, man. I just wish we could do something different for the whole community stuff. But yeah, I mean, just looking at these numbers, like I said, I don't disagree, because based on these numbers, it does look terrible. It does look like Democrat polls are losing. Definitely. That's based on this chart.
Yeah.
They have taken them. They're the only ones, the only party who has actually taken losses versus Republicans. There's more that have gained. But if we go and look at the full chart, there's also some Democratic districts that have gained, but there's not enough information to base this on a Democrat-Republican thing, because we don't know how many polls there actually is in District 141, for example. And I cannot make an educated guess or anything close to, just judging by by the way this chart is set up.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. Not enough data. I don't know. I'd hate to think that's the case. I think they're closing them down for a reason. I don't think it's to stop people from voting. At least I don't think so. Again, I'm always one to look for the glass half full, not half empty. So I tend to be a little more of an optimist. But we're going into this 2 hours already. I didn't want to go that long. I was hoping Roy would be available to come on. And but yeah, I'm sure he's partying with his constituents and family over there at the restaurant. So again, congratulations to those candidates who have won their respective races, and hopefully we'll get to talk to some of these people in the next few days, and hopefully they will be the change that people are looking for. People talk about being tired of business as usual, but if you don't come out to vote, then you're not really making any kind of a change at all. So now we got some fresh blood in there. Maybe we can get some things happening and get some answers and get some things done. And I hope that these people will work together and get that done. And yes, that was a rainbow Betty Rubble. It was still, yeah, it's still there. Anyway, if you got nothing else, Abel, I think we're going to call it a night. And if I do have anybody who wants to come on, and if Roy does want to discuss any of this, the victory, and discuss it, I will put that out there. And he might want to come on tonight. I don't know. I may come back on tonight and do something. Tonight's flight was canceled, which means tomorrow morning's flight is canceled. So I don't have to be at work until like almost 10 o'clock tomorrow. And that's a good thing. So I'm okay with being up late. And dude, you know what? Yeah, I'm hungry. I really don't want to eat these things.
Damn it.
Look.
Those are good, bro.
And they're just sitting here, bro. And I'm eyeballing them, and I can smell oh my God, they smell so good. But that's not what I want to have for dinner. I'd rather
makes sense.
Just drink water than eat this crap. I mean, I thank you for the gift, but that's not a healthy dinner. All right, yes, I think we'll call it a night for right now. Maybe we'll come back and do a regular. You up for a regular show later? Maybe.
Hit me up.
Yeah, I'll see. Let me figure it out. Everyone, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Hopefully, it was informative for you. Anything else you have, questions, anything, feel free. Inbox me. You know, my doors are always open to you guys. If you haven't liked my page yet, please pass it around. Give us a like. Would appreciate it very much at facebook.com/Manny Behind the Mic. And that's what I didn't do, is put that little banner down there. And on YouTube also, youtube.com/Manny Behind the Mic. And a subscribe would be nice. And if you would rather, monetary donations are welcome also at the Cash App, $Manny Behind the Mic. And lastly, if you want to buy some Manny Behind the Mic t-shirts and stuff, they got a lot of cool stuff there. If you haven't looked, go check it out. They have a lot of cool stuff, Manny Behind the Mic t-shirts, some BAMisms and caps and coffee mugs and tumblers and all kind of stuff. So check that out. I'll always appreciate your support. Abel, if you got nothing else, I'm going to say have a great night. And maybe we'll be back on in a little while for a late show, Saturday night special. I'll let you know in just a little bit.
Just one thing to say. That's it.
All right, go ahead.
I was actually impressed by the people who said, slay the negativity and keep going positive. Really good.
Yeah.
And we keep going that way in every single route. Like I've said it before, life is like the ocean, and you're on an inflatable boat, and there's waves coming at you, and while they're coming at you, they can either take you under. It's your job to stay above the waves. That's your job. Nobody else's job.
Yeah, there's there are some things that you can talk about and you can bring up, but you want to do it in a way where, and you have to pace yourself. You can't do 24 hours, 7 days a week, 2 or 3 times a day of the same issues 7 days a week. And that's why things will be considered negative. I know people were harping on Erasmo for always saying negative. And I know he means well, but when you do it 7 days a week, twice a day, it can get old. And then it loses the what's the word I'm looking for? It loses the impact. And it has to turn into, okay, this is the problem now. All right, so what are you gonna do to fix it? And that should be the real talk 5 days a week.
Oh yeah, solutions.
Yeah, exactly. What are you gonna do to fix it? What are the solutions? What's the so? And some people were saying he was being too negative all the time. And yeah, I got it, and I did. People told me they quit watching after a few minutes. But though he means well, I think, and it just needs to be handled a different way. Otherwise, you start being considered a negative Nelly, right? Negativity is the most contagious thing in the world. It is.
Deadliest too. A lot of everybody who suicides, they don't suicide thinking, man, I'm so positive, things are going to go so well. Negativity is killing them. And that's not even an actual disease, right? But that's a whole nother conversation too.
What's that? Negativity? Isn't a disease? Yeah. Is that what you said?
It's not a like medical disease,
Yeah, it's not. It's more of a social construct, and people can put out negative information or information that's not factually right, and you just repeat the process over and over and over again, and eventually you got a whole city believing what you say, not because it's true, but because it's being repeated so often.
Yep, that's a whole nother. Like I said, that's a whole nother topic. I can bring that one up any day, bro. That one right there. Somebody mentioned it earlier. Do you cut off those negative people, no matter if they're your family members? Cut them off, and life gets better automatically just by doing so.
It does, and you see the post on Facebook. People do it. Oh, I gotta trim the fat. I gotta take away some of my friends. I gotta remove some people that are. So you know what? Yes, you should do that every year, however often it's needed. I mean, you got something negative, people that are negative in your life to you or towards you. Why keep them there? Why?
Yeah,
it's just snip, and move on with your life.
That's just the waves in the ocean, dude. That you gotta have to just be like, well, I make a decision. Either this wave's gonna take me under, or I just, ride the wave or ride over it and wait for the next one, because they're not gonna keep. They're gonna keep coming, right? So it's our duty to just stay above the water.
Now, maybe we'll talk more candidly about some of this stuff later in a little while. All right, here, a couple more of these and we're done. I didn't use COVID to stop my chances at voting. There was curbside voting available, and at times early voting didn't give people a reason not to vote. Yeah, I know. It's out there. It's available out there. Brownsville, it's a different situation than a lot of places. Voter apathy, obviously, just lazy. We just have to get people more interested. And a lot of this bickering and nasty mudslinging all the time, that's a negative also. People get tired of that too. Betty Rubble, good night. Late night show, I'm getting popcorn at 10:30. All right, I'm going to talk to Abel about it as soon as we get off here, and then I'll let you guys know. Everyone, have a good night. Thanks for tuning in. To those candidates who won, congratulations. Now get in there and do the right thing, and we will keep an eye on you for that. You made some promises, and let's see what you're going to do now. Right? That's what I say. Yes, Snoops. Okay, all right. I'm getting a feeling we're going to be back on here, man. We'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Abel, thanks for doing this show with me, and I got a feeling we'll be back.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks.
Yes, of course. How can I forget? Because I'm out of town. That's why I forget. Happy Father's Day to everyone out there. Anybody who's a dad, whether it's your own kids or you raise kids, Thank you for being a father and a good dad, and hopefully you can raise your kids to be good fathers also.
Happy Father's Day. Yep.
All right, people, have a great night, and we'll probably be back. I'll let you know in just a little bit. Thanks for tuning in.